Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Disco Elysium with me, Bring It On. There's some cryptozoologists to find. So let's head a little north, a little east. I think they're this way. They might be to the west. Here's this door. Oh. The building before you housed the engine. Must have been a big one.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle.
Could this structure have been used to take the shot?
From here to the whirling? I can't see how. The church is in the way.
He looks southeast and blows on his fingers. So what if there's a different tool that I need to try and open this? I haven't had this equipped. Jeez. Alright, we'll hold off on that for now.
Is there something here that would indicate a sniper used this place as a nest for taking the shot? Just some urban detritus, a bottle, and a dilapidated old comms tower.
I don't see it, Lieutenant W. Freighter. I don't see a person take a shot here and hit something there. In the whirling in rags.
He looks east, over the coast. Maybe the campfire was used by the perpetrator.
To warm his hands before pulling the trigger? Perhaps. But anyone could have made this. The coast is specked with fires this time of year.
He looks around.
Truthfully, this seems like a very poor choice to take a 1.2 kilometer rifle shot from. Visibility is awful. There's water vapor everywhere. I think we can rule out... Biddable Prime, was it?
Maybe the assailant climbed the comms tower, took the shot there.
It's not possible to climb that ladder. And even if it were, why? There's no platform up there to aim from.
The lieutenant looks up, raising his collar. What about the cigarette butts?
Those? A smoking assailant who favors Tumutiri to Astra or Johan? Cigarette butts are everywhere. This is a common brand for all men.
He points to them.
Still, you felt it was important enough to make a mental note. That means something. You didn't pay attention to any of the other cigarette butts on the coast.
Look over the water, to the whirling in rags.
There, 1.2 kilometers over the wave-crossed bay, through heavy, dark grey curtains of rain, you see the smallest rectangle, barely visible. A glowing light on the third floor of the whirling in rags. With binoculars, you would see a young woman's shape move behind the glass, her limbs long and slender. Smoking, drinking, being happy and elated, without you. Because you're here, freezing in the wind, aren't you? Doing your detective work.
This relay tower coordinates boat traffic in the bay. Barely. Alright, so I was right. The cryptozoologists are a little bit more to the west. I don't think I can get there from here. Do I have to circle back around? Yeah. All the way back around. There's a slit in the concrete here. A sewer. So here's the Feld building. We were told to check out the mural again after we spoke to the washerwoman, I believe. Oh yeah, here. Oh, what's this? It's almost impossible to get a fire going this near to the ocean. This be the buoy Colossia told you about.
A metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling reeds. At first, it just looks like trash, but if you look closer...
That, over there. Must be the boy Class you told us about. The one she hid her passport in. We should take a look.
He points to the strange-looking object.
Ooh, hidden things, secrets, lies.
Pick up the buoy.
You lift the boy out of the water without much effort. It's not tied to anything. The cords dangling from the bottom appear to have been cut.
Examine the plastic ball.
The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt. A latch holds it close, but only just barely. The brittle metal of the latch has cracked.
Simple construction. Very unsafe.
Shake the buoy.
There's something in there, splashing around.
Sniff the buoy.
It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt, industrial slop and decay.
Open the buoy.
A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out. Some algae. And nothing else.
Well, damn.
Lucky it's still here. A little longer, and it would have floated away.
We still got here too late. There's nothing of use here anymore.
Lieutenant flashes a mirthless half-smile. No documents. Who do you think took them?
I have no idea.
Lieutenant taps his foot, frowning. This is a minor quirk. We know what was in the buoy anyway.
Or think we do. This is a small loose end, either way. Not important, I hope.
He purses his lips. Maybe Colossia took them herself.
That may very well be the case. We should keep an eye on her. Nothing more for us to do here. Let's go.
He sighs.
You could ask the miss what she thinks. Later, if you have the time. Though you doubt she'll tell you much at this point.
Alright, let the empty buoy be.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this gem.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
It must be Morell, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Alina sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
Yeah, that was me. I broke the water lock with my motor carriage, but it's fixed now. You can go back.
You broke the water lock with a motor carriage? There was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
He looks south. No, see, I jumped over the canal on my motor carriage, tearing through the Samaran Butter sign, which fell into the canal, blocking the gates. I used the pawn shop as a launch ramp.
Why?
He spreads his arms in disbelief. It was an experiment to gauge the Capri 40's aerial performance. I'm something of a gentleman scientist.
Scientist? Yes, okay. But you said the water lock is fixed now, so we can go back.
He quickly comes to terms with it.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
He turns to you.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
He refastens a bit of netting that has come loose in the wind.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
I'm looking for a suspect. Have you seen a woman with red hair who's soon to be on the run?
I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns. to be perfectly honest.
The lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook, then gestures for you to proceed.
Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
Skip the first half of this. Well, first of all, it's darn difficult to find. What makes it so difficult to find?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there?
He looks around.
And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case.
What sorts of specialized techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolve, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid.
How big is this phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
He leaves the conclusion up to you.
Seems puny, to be honest.
Why are you so interested in this stick bug? Aren't there more sensational animals out there?
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for.
He flashes you a sideways smile.
Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
He shakes his head.
Would be glory itself.
What have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So no one's ever found one?
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
He holds up an index finger.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
Lieutenant interjects.
I know it's real.
The cryptozoologist says brusquely, enough that even he seems taken aback by it.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
He says, gathering himself. Lena said there has been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
Maybe the Insulindian phasmid has died out.
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He shakes his head vigorously.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
That's pretty clever.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
There's nothing dispassionate about the way he talks about the insect.
Tell me more about these traps.
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
He points at the cage of mesh and wiring on the ground. Lena designed the traps.
Yes.
He says with some pride. How do the traps work?
Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can't get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
What are you using as bait?
Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
He gestures toward the trap.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
A carnivorous stick insect. Seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
What will you do if these traps don't work?
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Let me ask you about something else.
Yes. What?
Lena seems pretty eager for your return, or for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
He looks south, where Lena would be.
Come on, Morell. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
He yells in response.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow.
I didn't know the phasmid was so important to Lena.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
Really? She sighted the phasmid. She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
He coughs, then continues.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Yes, I must.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Another cough into his fist this time. Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, and come back to check the traps later.
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting.
How did you become a cryptozoologist?
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
So you're living your childhood dream out here.
It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
His eyes narrow. Well, that's not what I was saying. I was praising you for pursuing your dreams. Why not just be a zoologist? Real animals are puzzling too.
Real? I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
He scoffs at the concept. I don't. It's a profession, just like any other.
Indeed. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
Your life surprises are mostly miserable.
Agreed. Yet there is always a chance, albeit a small one, of a truly good surprise. One simply needs to look at the history of science. Serendipities abound.
And has anything truly surprising ever happened to you?
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Okay. What kinds of evidence do you use?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
You think other scientists don't listen to ordinary people enough?
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places.
So you've never discovered a cryptid?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
So how many cryptids have been found?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Only 2 have been proven to be real.
Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Grad, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
Yeah, not approvingly. The Insulindian phasmid will be the 3rd.
Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
He does not smile, just looks you in the eye. It's a forceful gaze.
He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
Well, thanks for explaining that. Now, about something else.
Yes?
Let's talk about specific cryptids.
Alright. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
He eyes you skeptically.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it.
Which cryptid did you almost catch? You said before that you almost caught one.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialists would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
What are willow people?
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees.
He says in a self-explanatory, everyday manner.
They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here.
Wait, so I may have seen these willow people without knowing it.
You probably have.
How did you almost catch a willow person?
Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paints. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow, dashing through the grove.
And then?
I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
He smirks.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
He raises his finger. Elena's sighting of the phasmid. Is that...
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting.
He replies quickly. Just tell me about a cool cryptid. Any cryptid.
No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories.
Yeah, but I have to pass that suggestion check for her to tell me anything cool.
Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence.
He brushes an errant strand of hair from his eye. What enough tales then? Let's change the subject.
By all means.
He coughs and wipes his mouth. What if we check the traps for you?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
He looks at you with obvious surprise. Yeah, cryptozoology and detective work are very similar.
Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence.
And where are these traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near.
He points south.
Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them...
He gestures to the trap in front of him.
You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
The pursuit of knowledge is its own justification.
Is it?
He doesn't look too convinced, but the small shrug indicates, why not? What do I do if there's a phasmid in one of the traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
What if I encounter the phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed.
He takes out a small white spray can.
It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Alright, lay it on me.
Wise choice.
He douses you with the odd-smelling spray that gives you a satisfied nod.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
Lieutenant wrinkles his nose.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
He looks at the lieutenant with disdain, then puts the spray back in his pocket. I'm ready. Let's get to it.
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Gary the crypto-fascist. I didn't recognize his name, or I didn't see his name.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
I'll get going. I should probably talk to Gary before I do the trap. So he said this one was close by.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morell set before. Same mesh, same wiring.
I'll look around.
Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidently.
Reach for the trap.
Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, one down, 3 to go.
The lieutenant grins mirthlessly. Darn, I was hoping it would be in the first one.
No, you weren't.
He looks at the sea, then you, laying a trap back down on the ground. We can always come back and inspect it again, cool. And now they're gone. He said I should wait to do this one last. Let's do that. Follow his advice. Yeah, I didn't want to... I thought about doing the thick... Oh.
The light vanishes inside the concrete slit. The structure goes deep under the earth.
Why didn't this pop up earlier when I saw the concrete slit? Yell ho into the slit.
There's no echo, and no answer.
What's in there?
Maybe it's just a storm drain for the sewer.
Kim, any idea what's down there?
No idea. Could be connected to one of the buildings around here.
He takes his glasses off to polish. Think we might find Ruby down there.
We might find her down somewhere. There's an old storm drain system beneath Martinez that's mostly collapsed. Revachol sewage system has been built and rebuilt 4 or 5 times now. In conclusion, she could be under any building.
He puts his glasses back on. But not in there.
I hope not.
He looks into the slit and sighs. Well, this is the failed building that we were told to inspect the mural for, so she might be under that one, since we're specifically pointing that one out as well. Or specifically notice that one. Oh, I wonder if we come out this door from the other side. If we go into the failed building, because the failed building is the one that has that entrance on the roof, I think. If we go down below it, where that sewer slit is, maybe we come out here. That's why it's such a low chance to open it from this side. If I had to guess. Alright, I'm going to call the episode here. The next one we'll continue inspecting these traps. We'll return to Lena, and I guess if her husband went back to the Whirling in Rags. We didn't get to speak to Gary on the coast. Hopefully we can speak to him back at the Whirling in Rags as well. That's what we'll do. We'll finish up the Cryptozoologist quest in the next one. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.